Oh,
Do we have to get it to the?
it's like the
Yeah.
quiz show on the air. We need to share one of them. Okay. Depends on whose clock you look at. We're either right on time or 2 minutes late.
Eric,
So,
Adam said he wanted.
so we will begin this business license hearing. So I guess you have to call the roll who's here to get a chance.
Mr. Ellis,
Here.
Mr. Barker,
Here.
Mr. Farley,
Here.
Mr. Grooms, here, Dr. Hudson,
Here.
Mr. Rich,
Here.
Mr. Goodwin,
Here,
and
all here. Okay. So, Joe, do you want to frame this or you want me to just?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So we're having a business license hearing. This is, staff has denied an application for a business license for a short-term rental at 213 East Hudson. So basically, this is like a very mini trial, but Eric's gonna explain why staff denied the license. And then the owner, who has her own attorney here, Ms. Cheryl Moore, is going to explain to y'all why they think that the license should not have been denied. As I've said in my discussions with y'all are free to consider anything you want to. It's y'all's decision by majority vote. Based on what y'all tell me, I will prepare an order. We're going to do deliberations here today. And y'all can talk about it, but we set aside 40 minutes for the whole thing, so please keep that in mind. If you have any questions about procedure, you can ask me that. I'm kind of here to advise all the council members, but these guys are dealing with the substance of what happened. I don't really even know myself. So that's kind of the way it's going to go.
Okay.
Staff's going to present their side, and then we'll hear from the owner of 213.
Okay, so we'll start out with Eric.
Okay. So if you take a look at the timeline I gave everybody a copy of when we started, basically this property had come to our attention as an ordinance violation for renting the structure out to more than one family at a time. And we were able to verify that. Officer Mitchell from Folly Beach Public Safety verified that on 5/21/21. It was being rented out to two different separate groups at the same time, two different contracts. We sent information to the business license official at the time back on June 1st of 21. And we got a reminder from our city administrator at the time to follow up on it. I sent a summons to the property owner back in June of 21. And I sent certified mail, the owner signed for it on June 26th of 21. Court date was set for July 9th of 2021. The owner did not show up at that court date. The judge found them guilty in their absence, and the citation was paid by the owner, total of $1,087 on September 28th of 2021. We got our certified disposition from the clerk of court on October 4th, and then Ms. Ritchie received the application in May of this year, 2022, for a rental license for this current year. Ms. Ritchie took a look at the file, found the history on it, and sent a denial letter certified to the property owner on May 25th, 22. And then the owner sent back an appeal on May 27th, which is now why we're here.
Okay, you want to tell us why business license was denied? What was the violation? I mean, a little more in depth.
Yeah, just, we denied the license because the property owner was found guilty and convicted on July 9th, and this just goes along with ordinance, 110.114, sections 3 and 4, which you should have that letter in your packet, possibly. And so based off of that, we sent the letter to deny the license.
Okay, so I guess a little more information about
Yeah.
when you found your violation, you verified your violation. The violation was for renting to more than one person. So there were just I'm asking you a question. This was like renting the house is being divided like a duplex.
Right, they turned a single-family property into a multi-family property, essentially, by renting to two different entities at the same time.
In what zoning?
Single family.
Single family. So no duplexes are allowed in single family
Correct.
zoning. Okay. This zoning was here before this house was built?
Yes, sir.
Did you go in and inspect it at all?
I did on a previous alleged violation. We never did substantiate with contracts and stuff, but I did at a previous time, a year prior to that, go in and see where they had illegally put a door in between the up and down. I believe we ordered them to remove that one time. That was, again, a calendar year prior.
Right, but when you went and looked at it, did it appear to be two separate units?
Yes.
Were there different, is there more than one kitchen?
Yes.
Okay. Any other
First floor.
signifiers of two separate units?
Two separate entrances, one from the back to go upstairs, one from the front to go to the first dwelling floor. The stairway in the back goes to the second, well, would be the third floor from the ground, but the second living floor. So you can, aside from it, there's a doorway to separate, but you can kind of separate those
Okay.
up and down.
So the application that was pulled, the original license was pulled for a single family rental?
Yes, it was a renewal for a short-term rental. Normally they would do two license
Well, if it's a
applications,
duplex,
but
you
it
have
was-
to do two by
Right,
ordinance.
there was only one. So,
Got any questions?
What is the current status of the property? Are they in possession of a business license, short-term rental business license, such that they could be renting today?
no, so the Amberley Flowers, the official business license prior, revoked her license on November 1st,
And that license,
2021.
that license is expired. 2020 license is all expired. So the 2021 license is expired and overdue, and this is about the 2022 license renewal.
So I did happen to pass by the property on the way here, and there are 5 cars on site. Could very well be the owners, but
Have y'all had anybody say there were people there? Or y'all haven't heard a
I'm
complaint?
not aware of it.
Okay.
I just have a,
You might wanna, hang on a second. You might wanna send somebody to verify that. Chief? Thank you.
The email from, we may not have a printed copy, but we do have an email verification fairly recently that from guests out there in the rental world that the place is being rented as two separate units. That would be, I don't know the exact date on that.
I believe they were in October of 2021.
Yeah.
We were forwarded reviews of the property noting that there were separate parties upstairs and downstairs.
It was. That was October 2020. The only thing I've seen come from somebody else saying, here's reviews of this property.
I don't have firsthand knowledge.
Okay, so, any other questions?
This-
I cut you off a second.
that's all right,
Yeah.
that's okay. The sequence, so are we saying during the time where there was, let's say, a suspension, that we might believe, just trying to sequence, that kind of business still happened. Is that inaccurate? I'm just trying to follow the
That
time.
was what
the
Adam was alluding to, maybe. So, I
Okay.
don't know.
So then, just for my own sake, when this happens, do we suspend them for like a year? Like, what is the rule?
12 months, correct?
12
From the date
months.
of the conviction?
Well,
You guys have some leeway there.
yes, as I said, as I've explained, if you don't put a time limit, they can't apply for a year. But council can say 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, even longer.
We could, well, I don't want to get too much, but we could say until we were sure that this house will not be rented as a duplex again.
Y'all have a lot of flexibility
So,
on
you know,
that.
it's
Okay.
a
You
lot of-
follow?
Thank you.
Yes.
I understand.
Anything else? Okay, well,
Well, hold on. They get to ask.
no, that's what I'm on.
Okay, okay.
I was gonna let them sit down and,
Well, they get to ask some.
Oh,
Do you have any
you want
questions, Mr. Lutz?
I mean, I had some, but do we just holler them out from here, or?
You can come up and ask him the
I just
questions,
don't know
Ms.
the
Moore.
procedure. All right, I don't want to waste.
you ain't got nothing on us.
I don't want to waste y'all's time, so let me just make sure everything covered, but
You're gonna get an opportunity to present your side, but I'm giving you an opportunity to ask Mr. Lutz any questions.
understand. Mr. Lutz, you didn't have anything to do with the letter that was sent November 1st, 2021 to my client, did you? Okay. So your responsibility in this matter was, you gave her the violation, and if my records are accurate, May 21st, 21, correct?
So the city summons,
Yeah, I can't, the summons I got is not legible, so I can't read it as far as what the violation, I know it was for, dual parties, but it doesn't, let me show you.
Do you have a better copy of it?
This thing.
And my client said much better, so I didn't know if, I mean, you just can't read it.
you can have a copy. Yeah. I think it's the same copy. I believe we have a copy right here, so you can have that. Can you read it?
I think I need to upgrade my Walmart.
Let's see, now, the ordinance violation is right here, 164.01.
Yeah. That's that
It's
table.
in our code of ordinance, right? You can't use it in single family dwelling.
What's all that?
That's the location of the violation.
Oh, that's-
like that.
Title of the violation, does that say date time?
Date and time.
It says verified by PSO, until 5/21/21.
Okay.
20 a.m.
All right.
That was our police officer that verified the.
And did you personally give her the ticket?
No, it was sent certified,
Oh, okay, that's right.
and it's, it was signed for right here
Right.
on June 26th.
Did you ever have a conversation with Ms. Sexton?
I did not,
Never, to your knowledge?
I don't think so. I don't believe I ever had.
All right, nothing regarding procedure or what she could do next or anything like that?
I don't believe I had.
All right. Could someone on your staff and you're just not aware of it?
It's possible.
All right, hang on one second. So the $1,087.50 fine, what was that amount based on, sir?
That's a $500 ordinance citation, and when you add the court costs, it ends up at $1,087.
So the $500 is for any violation, or there's a table of
We
amounts?
have, well, I can let Joe might go, we have a lot of different violations that deal with $500. It's kind of a max for
500 is the max.
Is $500 the
State law.
maximum?
municipal ordinance.
And just reading things, I just came across, are you aware like Isle of Palms has a $350 max?
I'm not aware of that. Not my purpose.
All right, so then you're saying on top of the 500, there was another $587 for court costs?
That's how it's capped out when the court calculates all the fees on top of it. And I can't speak to how that works, but I know that's the bottom.
Everything over $500 goes to the state.
How many, to your knowledge, how many short-term rentals are there on Folly Beach?
I don't know.
A lot.
It's a lot.
Are y'all in, I saw where there was a movement of the state trying to take control over governing. I realize you have very little to do with that, but are you aware of the push to make short-term rentals have more restrictions or?
I'm like vaguely.
Okay. So from your testimony, I understand you have no idea what knowledge my client had after paying the violation.
I do not.
And then, what's your understanding behind the purpose of this ordinance? Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
That's not my purview, to be honest with you. I don't really get into the purpose as much as the enforcement.
And roughly how many would you say you enforce on a monthly basis?
On what?
Short-term rentals with any kind of violation if you were like.
It could vary from year to year.
How do y'all go about policing that?
Generally speaking, it's complaint driven. It's usually the initial call comes from a complaint of some kind.
And who was the complainant in this case?
I don't even know. There's been numerous ones that, when it all started, which was even a year prior, I think, back in 2020.
Numerous ones. You wouldn't put it in a file, who made the complaint?
Not all of them. A lot of complaints we get are just phone calls or hearsay or third party. That's why we have to verify everything. Any complaint we get, we have to verify.
But so there's no structured system by the city of Folly Beach to determine who may be in violation and who's not. It's just if some random person calls it, teletext,
Well, they're innocent until proven guilty.
right? But what I'm asking, is there any system in place to determine any kind of accuracy, or whether those are cars that people from Ohio just park there?
Well, that's what a police officer does, or me, and if I'm in the field, somebody has to verify the complaint, like almost any crime.
But how many instances can you verify that Ms. Sexton was in violation of this ordinance, personally?
I couldn't tell you without some research. I don't know.
So what did you do in preparation for today's hearing?
About my timeline,
Okay,
proof of the citation.
good, fair enough. One more second. To your knowledge, have there been other complaints about the property, such as noise, excessive trash, use of firearms, any dangerous activities that you know
I
of?
wouldn't know off the top of my head.
You wouldn't?
2,600 properties out here.
Yeah. And to your knowledge, the Folly Beach ordinance only has jurisdiction in Folly Beach, correct?
That's my
Your
understanding.
enforcement. I just have one other question. As far as short-term rentals, excuse me, what's your understanding of how many people are allowed on Folly Beach in group homes?
I don't know what you mean. We don't really have a classification for group homes. It's not-
In the ordinance, it says that they are considered short-term rentals if they're there less than 30 days, group homes. So I don't know if that's something.
I don't use that term every day. I mean, I know what a short-term rental.
Okay. That's all that thing.
So that concludes staff presentation, I take it. So, Ms. Moore, any presentation you want to make to council?
Can I just ask my client some questions?
Yeah, however you want to do it.
Okay.
And I know that Ms. Sexton has something of a thick accent, so if you need to help out on that, that's fine.
Okay. Well, how do we do it? Where do I go? Where should I go?
Just like how they did it.
Okay. Can we come sit up here? Ms. Sexton, where are you from?
Vietnam.
And how long have you lived in this country?
15 years.
You got a little bit so they can hear you.
14, almost 15 years.
Okay. Tell us just a little bit briefly about your family.
Family here or family in Vietnam?
Here.
Here we just have me, my husband David, and Aurora. Just 3 of us in this world.
And your daughter.
Aurora, my daughter. Just 3 of us. That's it in this.
And where do y'all currently live?
We living in Somerville, and we build the house in we end up building the house in 2019.
We're talking about the Folly Beach house.
Yes, this to be able to live here later on after Aurora finished school, wherever school. That is the purpose we build the house. And we will need to make money to live in the house, okay? So the purpose, when we apply for the building permit, we request for 2 kitchens with the purpose like maybe we live down there, and Aurora, my daughter, she may live up there, where she has her own family.
So the unit has, or the house has 2
Two.
complete floors with 2 kitchens.
2 kitchen, yes. And we signed the paperwork with the city that we don't use that either multiple families. Okay? We don't use that. And we rented out short-term rental to make the money to cover with the expenses when we build the house. Too expensive. We had to pay for the mortgage, we had to pay the second property tax over
How much
here.
is the mortgage?
The mortgage with the
Taxes and insurance?
tax and escrow for insurance, we had to pay like almost 6,000 per year in this area for flood and the hazard insurance. So about like almost 5,000 per month
Per month.
for the mortgage. So we need to make money to cover that expense of the house. So we rent it out. And to be honest, I admit that sometimes I make a mistake, like because I rent it out by myself. So I put into 2 separate websites to put rent up and rent out. Just in case we turn over that. And sometimes it overlaps, especially in the spring season when I'm too busy with my career and I'm not overseas.
And your career is what?
I'm CPA. So I do a tax, so I'm very busy on the May, starting on February up to May. Very busy at that time. So sometimes I just hit the button. Sometimes I let the people book and I totally forgot that I need to cancel the other overlap yet. I make a mistake on that.
Right. They don't wanna hear excuses though, because they hear them every day, all day from everybody.
I know that.
So,
Yeah.
did you rent this on a regular basis to 2 separate parties and have 2 separate contracts and taking the money from both as an ongoing concern?
No. I admit that I make a mistake sometime to rent that and I forgot to cancel. And the other, and I thought that like 1 or 2 night overlap is okay, but it's apparently not okay for that. And when I realized that I got a ticket, I canceled on, so I just left one booking only and then rent for whole house. I don't rent for the 1 unit anymore.
And what's the unit, what do you rent for a night?
Around 400, 300 per night for the house. And so I rented all house since I got the ticket. And I just let the system book, they automatic books, and the cleaner come in and clean it up.
Is that how you would typically find out? Because we were talking about, I think, checkouts at 11 and check-ins at 4, and often people just go to the beach and say, screw it, and
Yeah.
stay the whole day.
Yeah.
And how would you find out if that was happening from the cleaners?
Well, one time I have a friend living in my house when I rent one. So I will say that I can leave, or my friend can leave. So I let one of my friends living in the house. And then the police come in and check that. I didn't know that about that. And then she said that the police come and check where the rental agreement. Of course, she don't have that.
Because she was right.
She friends, she don't have the rental agreement. So the police come out, and then midnight they come back again, and then ask again, where is the rental agreement? And then she said, I don't have that, call Kimmy. And she gave that, I don't know that she gave my cell phone to the cop or not, but
When was this, Miss Secretary?
that
Right.
is, I think it's late summer 2020, I think. In 2020, I believe.
Any narrow that?
I don't remember.
Okay. All right, just briefly, I want to
Yeah,
go through this
but anyway,
timeline.
and then the next day, the cop coming back again and asked one more time about the rental agreement. And she said that, okay, I'm done. I'm not living in your house anymore. Too much harass over here. So she left.
So the cop came 3 times?
She told me that.
Did you ever talk to that police officer?
I tried to, but
You don't remember if it was Mr. Lutz?
no, not.
Did you ever talk to him?
No, not Mr. Lutz. That is the regular policeman. My friend told me about that. So when I know about that, I try not to rent for too many people, except for maybe when I got a ticket. Maybe at that time I have excuse in my family, and you told me don't tell about that, so I don't tell about that, my excuses. But it did happen, and
No. I mean, it's fine to say, your father was ill when he was in Vietnam. But
No, my father died, and I wanted to.
right during that time?
Yes.
Right.
And then in Vietnam, we've been blocked by COVID, and I wanted to go back to Vietnam when my father did ill, and the ticket to me to go to Vietnam is 6,000 for one term, and I had to
Wait,
go.
back up. The ticket, what ticket are you talking about?
The airplane ticket to Vietnam.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for me one time, one way, 6,000, and they asked me to stay in the quarantine area. They don't allow me to stay with my dad for 3 months or 3 weeks until I'm clear for the COVID and things like that. So a lot of things happened to me at that point, and that's why I cannot go to the course. I'm not here.
All right, so briefly,
Well,
just a
we've got
second.
about a couple of minutes left here.
Oh, okay,
So just-
okay, let me speed it up.
But anyway, from that point, I don't rent any for the 2 groups of people. I rent the whole family. And this year, like from the very beginning, we're thinking about like we build a house for living. And now we will live here in the house.
Your family is planning on moving in the home
Yes, we sold
in
the
July?
house. We sold the house in Somerville already, and we're closing in July 6th, and we will move here. So there's no way for me.
It's part of the reason because y'all couldn't pay 2 mortgages.
Yeah, I cannot afford for the big house and
All right, I just want them to understand real quickly.
yeah.
So you got the notification, the certified letter saying when the court was, that you were in violation, and the court was July 9th,
Yes,
correct? You signed for that
yes,
certified
I signed
letter,
that.
but you didn't show up in court.
Yes,
Did you
My-
explain why you didn't?
my thought that like people get the speeding ticket, you got the letter from the court, you pay that, and then you don't need to show up at the court. That is my thought. So.
So you thought after you paid the fine,
I
what?
thought that I paid the fine, so I don't hear anything from the city, so I think that I'm done. Even from that point, I don't violation, so I should be okay. That is my thinking. So I
Okay.
think that I'm done for that.
And then the
And
position
then-
of the city is that they sent a letter on November 1st.
No, I never received for that letter.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that letter, in fact, they said was sent certified.
Yeah, they have two things. I never received the letter in November, and then on February I received the renewal license application.
February this year.
Yes. So I thought that I'm okay.
So you didn't know that anything had
No.
transpired.
No, I didn't know that. So when I received the letter from the city, say that my application renewal right now is with my check for application to renew the license is in the city clerk right now. So I thought that I'm okay.
All right, when did you first learn that in fact the license was either suspended or revoked?
Normally, every year I go online to renew the license. I check, fill the income for the rental, short-term rental, and pay for the fee, and that's it. And this year, everything should be the same. So I go online, but the city clerk say that you have to wait because the website going down. So you still have.
So the website was down in February when you were trying to renew?
Yeah, February March I called and they say you still have April 30 to renew your license. You're still good until April 30.
Okay.
Yeah, and then end of April 30, almost like April 27, 26, I call and they said you have one more month, May 31st, so you're good until May 31st. Okay.
And then you took action on May 31st.
So May 26, 27, 25, deadline coming in. I still cannot go to the online, so I go to the court. When I have time, I go to the city hall, apply that, and then when I know that my license has been suspended already.
All right, and had you received the certified letter of November 1, that there is no proof furnished to me that
I don't have.
we don't have the certified
I don't have
documents
letter.
and it's not.
I don't have that letter.
Right, but
I'm
had
saying-
you received it, would you have ignored it?
No, I never received it. So
Um,
when the clerk come to tell me that your license has been suspended, and I say, what?
We're gonna have to move
Yeah.
on here. I'm sorry, but
Okay.
I
So-
guess just in summation, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'll change this frog out of my throat. In summation, the documents I have, and I'm happy to, I've only got one copy, but the certified letter that was sent previously, and then the one that was sent May 25th, both say certified on it. The November 1 saying your license is suspended does not say certified. And I have the certified copies which she had signed previous. I don't have those. So in fact, it could be completely true that she never got that. So she didn't know the state of the
understand.
violation. In her mind, she had paid it, it was done. So it's a miscommunication, but she has admitted to the mistakes she's made. She plans to move there with her family. But, I just think there's a fairness argument. I mean, people have to play by the rules, I get that. But this is their livelihood, this is, what, 90,000 a year or more than that, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's $300 a night. It just seems
When
like
you-
a real harsh
When you
punishment.
move there, are you planning on living there and renting out the other half? Okay, well,
that's wrong.
that's the problem.
See, that's.
The ordinance says you can live
No,
No, let me ask you a question. People have the short-term rental. They rent one rooms only. It's still called the short-term rental.
that's
That's Airbnb, people doing
That is
that.
called a bed and breakfast, and that's a whole different set of rules, and you have to live there to rent one room. That's a whole different set of rules, but you cannot divide a house in the residential section, resident R1 zoning, to a duplex. That is not legal. It's not legal before 2019 when you built your house.
No.
Well,
I
let
was
him
told,
finish.
yes,
So you cannot make it a duplex. You cannot really do what you're talking about doing, having two families live in the same house when you're dividing the house to a duplex. See, that's the problem. That's why the city of Folly Beach just did away with, you cannot have two kitchens in a single family resident house at all anymore because of the same problem that you're describing here.
But hers was approved.
Hers was approved before that would happen, but
Sure.
still she couldn't rent, she could not let her friend live upstairs and rent the downstairs. That's a duplex.
But you're saying there's a prohibition of her family moving in on one floor and renting?
yeah.
Yeah, that's a duplex. So if she moves in totally and rents one room and provides breakfast and she's there the whole time, it's a bed and breakfast, one room, bed and breakfast, different set of rules. You cannot divide your house into a duplex and you live in the bottom and somebody else rent the top, or you live in the top and somebody else rent the bottom.
I know I read where you could live there as a resident and rent out. And I don't know what it's called, whether that's short-term rental or Airbnb or whatever it's classified as.
It's classified as,
And it's not,
It was
it's not that
confusing.
owners can't rent out rooms in their houses. It's the separation of the floors into two separate
Yes.
independently functioning units. So Ms. Sexton had put in a door that prohibited passage from upstairs to downstairs and a separate entrance at the back of the house. So it's not that an owner can't live in a house and rent out rooms in his house. That's fine. But when the house is
So they can't
physically
do that.
separated into two separate units, that's what makes it a duplex.
So to fix it,
So it's not correct to characterize it as we're living here and renting out our rooms. It's, we have shut off and locked our upstairs. It functions completely independently as a separate living unit. That's the violation, using the structure as a duplex, as two separate units.
so
well, I guess, I mean, her recourse is truly if she can't get any rental income, then they have to sell it, which is extreme.
Well,
Unless, if you're saying if she removes the door, removes separate access,
removes the kitchen, then you know that you're not renting it as a separate room or separate building, separate residence, excuse me.
I mean, there's got to be some solution short of them having to, sell them.
well, they can rent the entire house under one agreement. It just can't be rented as two separate units.
Right. But I mean,
Even if they're rented at separate times,
but we are
you
where we are
have
now,
two
so going
separate
forward.
units. Dwelling units, as Mr. Pope explained. And that's the problem, and that's been the problem all along, as Mr. Lutz explained. And he brought this issue up several years ago with dividing up the house into two units.
I don't know that it's been properly brought to her attention until all this occurred. I mean,
So we can produce multiple communications with Ms. Sexton, reminding her that she has a single family house and it cannot be rented under separate contracts as two separate units. Dating back literally years.
Okay, can I say something? You told me that I can live in the bottom of the house and rent it out up there.
Correct. You can rent out portions of your house. You cannot rent it out as a separate unit.
Yeah.
You have to interact with everybody that's in the house.
You can't have them go
Not
upstairs.
in the house is like that. The house is just like that, We can go into upstairs and it's just two different floors.
Well, it's definitely a lack of communication here,
yeah.
so.
Well, I just think a permanent revocation, I mean, that's as strict as you could possibly get, as far as the impact on the individual's rights. It's been a real costly.
Like you rent to somebody else and you need to rent them a room, and that room had to be a door. That's it. you know,
But I'm not renting them a floor level of the house.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I'm renting them a room, I'm renting them a bedroom.
So how does she advertise if y'all are generous enough to allow at least suspension to be removed or whatever? How is she to advertise any sort of rental? What, it's just rooms for rent? I mean, is that a stupid
If
question?
she's living there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
presumably,
mean,
yeah, they're moving there July 6th.
But that's, you know, and I'll be honest with you, I mean, what we're talking about is what has happened in the past, not what's gonna happen in the future.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make her understand.
But yes, it'd be,
And to clarify, it's not rooms for rent per se, because it has to be the same family or party.
Right, she can't rent,
well,
the
yes.
rental ordinance
exactly.
prohibits renting individual rooms to different parties. So you can't rent bedroom A under contract to Tim Goodwin, and bedroom B under contract to Aaron Pope, bedroom C to Bill Farley, all at the same time. She can rent bedrooms 1, 2, 3 to me,
One
or she
contract.
can't have separate contracts for each individual.
Now, is there a different rule for Airbnbs? How do they get away with all that?
That rule does apply to Airbnbs.
They're
We
not
don't-
getting
we
away
don't
with it if
allow-
we find them.
Yeah, we don't allow people to rent individual rooms to multiple people at the same time under multiple contracts. So it's one contract for all rooms at once.
One additional follow-up, you used the word permanent. I don't believe what we vote on here today is permanent per se for all the time, but rather for the period of time that Joe alluded to, 2,
Yes.
3, 12 months.
Yes.
Any other questions for
question?
Mrs. Sexton?
Okay, so it's clear to me there's two kitchens. It's clear to me there's two things happening at the same time. So that's just one thought, that it's not sort of this B and B and one. So that's clear, there was some intentionality that there would be two dwellings. So I'm just gonna keep going, just 1 second, please. And it's also clear that you had a plan, which is great, okay? In my understanding, I mean, people make mistakes and, you know, miscommunication. But the one key I just really want to know, that in order to clarify, to not show up at the hearing, and again, there might have been a lot of complications, but wouldn't that have been a time to advocate, speak, you know, get certain things clear when you were asked to attend? Is that a fair question?
Yeah, I mean, I think her testimony was she thought paying a fine was sufficient, like a speeding ticket, but clearly it wasn't.
Okay, so that would have generated more education, more discussion, helped you plan, whatever the case may be. So that was just one piece, I think, that, you know, that's kind of a disconnect for everyone, which is too bad. The other thing is, did you say you're a CPA? Okay, so also part of this too is, you know, you're clear too, you're a plan, you understand process, you're a CPA. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have that are strengths per se, that would help you further understand that two entities are multi. And two kitchens, maybe it's a daughter, I don't know, is clearly two separate units, is what I'm just trying to clarify. So you were probably pretty clear, those are two separate dwellings, two kitchens, different bathrooms, things of that nature.
okay.
All right, any other questions? So I really need a motion to uphold, a motion in the positive to uphold the city's revocation of a license for 12 months as presented by the license clerk.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second,
And Mayor, for clarification, is that 12 months from the original violation?
From the violation that she presented in November, so it would not get a license again until November. That would be the 12 months.
We say November 1st.
That's fine.
Will we have discussion?
Yeah.
Yes. So, would that change anyone's opinion if we found out that it's being rented as of today, unlawfully? In terms of the clock,
Let me just
Three people there?
say, staff does not have the certified mail receipt for that notice that went out in November. So we can't say for sure that she got it. I would prefer to focus on the violation itself rather than the likelihood that she continued renting it, simply because we can't show that she got that letter back in November.
Okay.
Right.
Good and proper notice.
Well,
The other ones were
that's what
proper.
I just said.
Yeah.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do, but in the meantime, do we have any confirmation?
Yes, one family is renting the whole house.
Currently?
Currently, yes.
And we knew that the licenses were not in good. So, any other questions? Mr. Pope,
What are we voting on?
on to uphold the
From what
12-month
dates? Because
revocation.
what Joe just said was change it back to, I guess,
November to
June 26th.
November.
No, not November.
But it's still November?
Yeah.
Even though we don't know that that's when they got a certified letter? Like you said,
November's,
you had the
Yeah, it's
violation
not
date.
signed for us.
Never mind, we're
November,
voting on this one, that's fine, that makes it easier.
I'm confused because the motion is revocation, but what is the discussion about? I thought you said we had a wide variety of responses.
so you can. if
When do
you-
we
Yes.
deliberate that?
Tim has made a motion.
Well, I-
Mayor, I'm sorry.
I made the motion.
The motion is on the floor
So if you want to try to change that, then you
to
make
suspend
amendments
it
like the
till
other motion.
November 1st. So if you want to,
Add a
you want to
condition in?
basically do an
Yeah.
amendment or a condition.
I think we
yes.
should put a condition in that says it has to be, the kitchen has to be removed and the door separating the two levels has to be removed so that it is just a single-family residence.
Okay, so you're making that as a motion.
Or
For
an
an amendment, yeah.
Amendment, yes.
So we have a second.
Second.
Does that mean that's conditional upon the year?
Hang on.
Okay, so I'll second
Yeah,
that.
So-
Mayor, this is going to be put into a written order. And so we're deliberating now. You've had your opportunity to present the case.
And Mr. Farley, is your amendment proposing to deny the license until the kitchen is removed or deny the license until November 1st plus the kitchen being removed?
Until November 1st, and when the kitchen is, when both are completed. So removal of the kitchen and removal of the door, it would still be till November, or come November, if the kitchen is still there and the door is still there, then the revocation continues until both are satisfied, but not before the November date.
Okay,
Makes sense?
got it.
The other thing I'll say about that is the kitchen law wasn't in effect when they built their house. Removing the
get that.
kitchen at this late date is kind of excessive in my mind. Rent as one unit, keep it as one, who cares if they have two kitchens?
Okay. Any other discussion on the amendment? So we're gonna vote on the amendment.
Mr. Grooms,
No.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
No.
Mr. Rich,
No.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes.
So that amendment passes.
Anything else? So we're back to the original motion as amended. Yeah.
Mr. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
No.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes.
passes.
So you'll get an order written from Mr. Wilson that lays everything out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's still,
That's,
all right.
that's not yours, right?
So.